isn't it a little bit weird to be discussing and researching assassination? And I said, yes, I guess it is, but frankly, I find it fascinating, and I think it's certainly very significant. Assassination has certainly affected not only American history, but world history. And I even give a few examples in my introduction about the fact that, after all, let's face it, World War I began because of an assassination. We, of course, had the fall of the Roman Republic because of an assassination. We, of course, had our country itself divided when Abraham Lincoln was, of course, murdered in 1865. And we are still reverberating from the events around John F. Kennedy in 1963. But it's a lot more than just looking at Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy. The fact is, assassination has been a common theme, unfortunately, in world history, but also in American history. And I have devoted a chapter to each president who faced a direct assassination attempt, both those who were unfortunately assassinated and those who were wounded and those who were unhurt, but also presidential candidates, which I have not seen anybody else do that I'm aware of. So I have a chapter on Huey Long, who was assassinated in 1935. I have a chapter on Robert F. Kennedy, assassinated in 1968, both seeking the presidency. And also a chapter on George C. Wallace, who was shot and paralyzed for life in 1972. So I cover altogether 11 presidents and 3 presidential candidates, 1 chapter on each. And then I have 2 chapters on recent presidents who have not had a direct contact with assassination, meaning eyeball to eyeball, but have been threatened. So therefore, I discuss the issues around Jimmy Carter, George H.W. Bush, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama, right up to October 2014, right after Omar Gonzalez scaled the fence at the White House and got into the building. Luckily, the Obamas were not there, and got very far into the White House, unbelievable, and showed us that the Secret Service needs a lot of reform because it's getting more and more daring. More and more people are becoming daring, fence jumpers, as I call them, White House intruders. And thank goodness none of the living presidents have had anything direct that's affected them, but there's been lots of threats. And as I point out, Barack Obama, I talk about 20 threats, but there's actually many more, has had more threats than any president other than Abraham Lincoln. So, and it continues. And of course, presidential candidates you have to worry about too. Even now, after all, we have a lot of rhetoric out there, a lot of invective out there. And I have written on thehill.com and on History News Network of the danger of assassination, or at least a threat this year, because of the rhetoric, because of the invective, because of the hyperbole that is going on. And I advocated before it happened that Donald Trump should have Secret Service protection, and Dr. Benjamin Carson should, and they do. And I've also advocated that Bernie Sanders should have it. He does not, as far as I'm aware, not at least knowingly, not publicly. Of course, Hillary Clinton does because she's the former First Lady. But even lesser candidates, those who are not as serious, or those who are still serious, like Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, are always in danger. And all you need is one mistake, one error, and that's one too many. And that's what we have to remember. There's never enough perfection.